Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a foundation review on the NYX Born to Glow Naturally Radiant Foundation. I have mine in shade Light, so if you are curious to know my thoughts on this foundation, how I like to apply it, then stay tuned and let's get right into the video. To get started with today's application, I've already done my skincare and I have done my priming. For primer, I used the NYX the Marsh Mellow primer. Since this is going to be more of kind of like a application style that I would wear if I was going out at night. And the foundation, of course, is the NYX Born to Glow Naturally Radiant Foundation, and I have shade Light. This is a pretty liquidy formula, so I found it's best if you really give it a good shake. So with this foundation, whether I've used fingers, brush, or sponge, I always like to start with it on the back of my hand. This is one you need to be careful with because it is quite liquidy and a lot comes out if you are not careful. One of my favorite ways to apply this, especially for this more kind of like evening style, I like to use a damp sponge and I like to pick up a little bit and just start in the middle of the face. When the color's first going on, the shade Light looks a little too dark, a little too peachy, but applying it with the sponge, I'm able to shear it out and get a nice thin veil of coverage. If I apply it with a sponge, I can shear it out, but I can also build up the coverage where I want it. And by shearing out this formula, I feel like it makes it less luminous than it is if I apply it with a brush, which will give it a little bit more coverage. And with my skin being more on the normal to oily side, I find I like this better sheared out a little bit. And see, off the bat, just my cheeks alone, I really like the thin veil of coverage this gives. Now that we're into spring, we're heading into summer, it's getting warmer for sure here in Toronto. We're actually having days which are getting close to 20 degrees Celsius, which is wonderful. And that makes me very happy because that means we're gonna have more kind of outdoor gatherings. And a lot of times outdoor gatherings are at night, and when going to a nighttime event, you normally aren't wearing sunscreen unless you're kind of going from work to an event. With me working from home, I have the opportunity to get ready for my event at home. So normally if I have sunscreen on, I'll wash off and re-prep my skin. So here is that little dollop I applied all over. With this foundation being quite liquidy and applying it with a sponge, even though my sponge is damp, you are going to absorb a lot of product. So I've got another dollop on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna take a little bit more and now work on my forehead. I wanted to test this foundation out like this without having anything under it like a sunscreen, just skincare and a primer to see how it would do for night, because being able to test this out for now a few months, get my feelings on it. I know it works well with most any primer I've used. It works well with all of my sunscreens. I want to see how it works by itself. Like something I love about applying a foundation with a damp sponge, even though you are sacrificing some coverage, you're not going to get as much spreadability out of your product. It does such wonderful things for skin texture. You're pressing the product into the skin. You're going to make it kind of mesh with the skin, which is really, really lovely. Here is 2 thin layers of the NYX Born to Glow foundation all over, applied with my damp Eco Tool sponge. Let's take a look at the concealer of the week. And this is the NYX Born to Glow Radiant Concealer. And I have shade Alabaster. I've seen this in store recently. However, I have not seen, I can't find it online. I don't know if this product was discontinued. I picked this up about December of last year, so I haven't had it that long. Who knows, maybe this is being discontinued, which would be unfortunate because it's a nice concealer. The application with the sponge is reminiscent of the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealer, a little bit more luminous, but it's nice. With this shade being a little bit lighter, a little bit more pinky, it allows me to create a nice natural kind of gradient between my concealing tone and my foundation tone. It's really, really pretty, and that's why I hope it's not discontinued. It's fascinating because, like I've mentioned, I've worn this with sunscreens and primers, but never like this, never with just skincare and primer. My eye area looks really smooth up close. Maybe need to blend a little bit right here. But that's really nice. I need to balance out the brightness. So I'm gonna take what's on here, a little bit on my chin. Take a little bit right here to brighten up smile lines. A little bit right there. And add some light to the forehead. And we'll lengthen the nose a little bit. You know what? Let's take a little bit right through here. Let's brighten up here like I would with a powder highlight. I feel like this is going to blend really well, but let's find out. So, same sponge. Even though this is luminous, it's not looking too luminous. It feels very, very comfortable. Now I'm looking in my large mirror behind the camera. My skin texture looks pretty good. Very impressive. Okay, let me finish off the rest of my makeup off camera and I will be right back. We will go over how everything applied on top and my thoughts on this foundation. So I will be right back. I'm back, the rest of the makeup is on, and I definitely went in a way different direction than I was anticipating when I was getting ready to do this video. And my mindset was kind of like, how would I do makeup if it was like an evening event? So a little bit smokier, a little bit of a flick on the liner, and this is not drugstore, but this Stila Stay All Day waterproof eyeliner pencil in the shade Alloy, which is a gray. It is really, really lovely. Everything that I have on will be listed in the description box down below. Let's get into the foundation review. I am very, very happy. Like, my skin has luminosity. However, most of the luminosity we see right here on the cheek is from the highlighter that I'm using. You can see that it looks like makeup on the skin. However, it doesn't look heavy. My texture is not enhanced. If anything, my skin texture looks a little bit smoother. And in combination with the setting powder I used, which was the Honest Beauty Invisible Blurring Loose Powder, I feel like this gave a very, very pretty finish to the skin. So let's look at the overview for the NYX Born to Glow Radiant Foundation. This retails for $16, 30 ml of product, which is 53 cents per mil, and it's available in 45 shades. And for reference, I have shade light. Now, this shade is a little bit darker than my neck. I tried to cool it down a little bit with the concealer. It's still a little bit dark. However, we're going into summer, maybe I'll do a little bit of fake tanning, so this would be a really, really nice shade. Something I really love about this foundation, and what makes me feel like it would do well for a lot of different people, is even though it is called Born to Glow, and in nature, it has more of a luminous finish. It is very, very adaptable. I found with most of my mineral sunscreens, since they have a little bit more of a mattifying finish, this will start to take on a little bit more of a mattified finish. However, if I use one of my chemical SPFs, which tends to have a little bit more of a luminous finish, this will be a little bit more luminous, and thanks to the prep work. When choosing a primer, it did well with all of the primers I tried it out with. I really love using the NYX Marshmallow Primer. This gives just a nice velvety smoothing effect to the skin, and when in combination with this, you get this really beautiful, natural, but slightly luminous finish. If you pair it with something like the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer, which is more of a tacky based, or the Makeup Revolution Glass Skin Primer, those will give your skin a very luminous effect. You have very dry skin, or you're someone who likes more of a radiant finish, combination with a luminous primer and this more luminous foundation, I think you would really enjoy. A downside with this foundation, with it being slightly more luminous, with having a little bit more of a creamy texture, if you do not set it down with a powder, it does want to cling to your powder products. And this week I've been trying a new powder technique. I saw this, I think, on either Instagram or TikTok, but you take your beauty sponge while it's damp, tap into a little bit of powder, and then really press it in on your wrist and then pop it over. Oh my goodness. It's like baking for people who don't like baking. You're applying such a very thin, translucent amount. It's really beautiful. It's really smoothing on the skin, and it works with all different powders that I've tried. So pressed, loose, it does really well. That is what I used with today's makeup, and I just feel like it works really, really well. Let's take a look at the NYX Born to Glow Concealer. Retails for $12 for 5.3 ml of product, which is $2.26 per mil. This is available in 24 shades, and it might be discontinued. I can't find it online, but like I mentioned earlier, I have seen it in stores, so you might be able to find this in a store. If you can, I say try it out. If you can't find it, then the Maybelline Instant Ager one is a very, very close alternative that is just as good. I like a little bit better, but this is just a really lovely one and I'll continue to use it. This is definitely more of a radiant finish. If you are someone who is more oily, you don't like using a mattifying sunscreen or a primer, you might not like this. This definitely is more, in comparison to something like that Maybelline Ager one, it has more of a creamy feeling. It's slightly thicker and more viscous in the consistency. It's really nice, doesn't crease, doesn't smudge. If you set it down with powder, it will last all day. I really like this. I use shade Alabaster, which is a little bit brighter, a little bit cooler than my skin tone, but with the foundation being slightly darker, slightly warmer, the two together work together to create a really nice balance and harmony within the shade matching. So if you can find it, great. If not, if it's discontinued, can't get your hands on it, definitely check out the Maybelline Instant Ager one if you haven't tried it already. So a more short, simple, concise foundation review this week. I really enjoy the NYX Born to Glow foundation, and I equally love the concealer. The concealer might be discontinued, who knows. If you can find it, I say try it out. If not, there are similar things on the market. I really like the foundation. When I run out of this one, I definitely want to pick it up and have it on hand. Going into the summer, with my skin being more normal to oily, getting a little bit more on the oily side in the summer, don't know if I would reach for this for a lot for my day-to-day, but for more of an evening occasion layered with a more mattifying base, I think this would be a great evening foundation. And when it's cooler outside, this is a really nice one as well. It's quite flexible with being able to build it from more of a sheer finish up to more of a medium finish. If you have tried this foundation out, I would love to know your thoughts and feelings on this foundation in the comment section down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can see all the other videos coming up soon. I will see you all in the next video, and I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever you are in the world. I will see y'all later. Bye y'all.